The journey through hell sounds like a terrible time, and trust me, for some of it, it was. But the remote tracks and untouched mountain scenery more than made up for the misery we would be going through. DL, or the Hell, is a remote valley in the Swartberg mountain range in South Africa. The first Afrikaans settlers here were a mostly self-sufficient bunch who, for 130 years, used donkeys to carry in the few goods they would need from a town 60 kilometres away. They were so isolated that they even developed their own accent. To access this storied destination, we cycled up a stunning mountain pass called, and I'm going to completely butcher the Afrikaans name, Seweweekspoort. The gorge is lush, deep, and surrounded by jagged peaks and incredible rock formations. In fact, the highest mountain in the region is found right here. The 20-kilometre long pass twisted and turned through fascinating geography as it followed the natural path of the river. We were looking for a quiet place to rest on the pass and took a small track that led us to an unexpected mountain dam. We climbed up its steep wall, of course, and couldn't believe our sight. Yo! This dam had an exquisite amphitheatre of surrounding red rock peaks.
Can't believe we have this place all to ourselves.
It's so amazing.
The water temperature was perfect, and the edge of the dam had an infinity pool-like view over the surrounding area. It was the perfect place to relax and wash off after multiple nights of camping. We finished off the gorge and entered the high open plains of the Swartberg Mountains. This track is only used by hikers and bikers, so it's super rough and rocky. Luckily, our overbuilt Koga World Traveller bikes are built for this terrain, so I never had to hold back, saving my brake pads for another day. A trail called The Ladder loomed ahead. This loose, rocky scramble drops a silly number of vertical metres in a very short distance. It's completely unrideable, and you can't even let go of your brakes, as your bike would simply disappear into the deep valley below. But wait. Why are we even on this trail? The Hell, the remote place we are trying to visit, is only accessible via a mountainous in and out four-wheel drive track. Doubling back on ourselves 57 kilometres each way was a much tougher pill for us to swallow. The trail progressively got looser, rockier and steeper. The toughest sections I couldn't even record because I was all consumed trying to guide my bike down the mountainside. Looking back, we couldn't believe the trail we had just come down. Even after completing it, it felt like an impossible proposition. At the bottom, we found a sign that stated that any trespassers would be shot and survivors would be shot again. In a place called Hull, that checks out. Hull was surprisingly lush, with rivers and streams flowing into the valley every which way. It was teeming with life and abundance, and it finally made sense how a few self-sufficient families could have lived in such an isolated place for over a century, blissfully unaware of the rapidly advancing world. A road in and out of the Hull was constructed in the 1960s, exposing these isolated families to the rest of the country. It's said that the glitz and glamour of urban life was too great a temptation for the younger generations, resulting in no permanent residence by the 1990s. Make no mistake, the 57-kilometre road to modernity was a journey in itself. It begins with an insanely steep pass. Then you must complete a series of about 9 small but tough passes to get to the end. The road conditions are notoriously bad. However, it felt apt that we were cycling through Hull on a 43 degrees Celsius day. That's 110 degrees Fahrenheit. We often had to push our bikes to ensure our weary bodies didn't overheat. My salty shirt was evidence of just how unprepared we were for these extreme temperatures. Even the Klipspringer antelope were barely getting out of our way, panting in the heat. The road zigzagged past rocky gorge after rocky gorge. We were lucky that these narrow corridors fed cool mountain water into pools that we could soak inside and even wet our clothes in. As we climbed in elevation, the plant life became of great interest. Proteas littered the roadside, along with a myriad of unusual botanic specimens. In fact, there are 6 floral kingdoms in the world, with most covering an entire continent or two. The tip of South Africa is its own floristic kingdom, with 6,200 plant species that are only found here. Our road from hell finally ended at the top of what some consider one of the most spectacular mountain passes in Africa. Swartberg Pass drops 1,000 vertical metres from top to bottom, zigzagging its way down the mountainside using a series of tight switchback turns. There are breathtaking views of the surrounding geology at every corner. The rocks can even appear blood red at certain times of day. Just as impressive as the rocks are the dry stone retaining walls that support the road in many places. These are over 130 years old and still keep your bike from toppling into the valley below. As you descend further, you pass into a single narrow gorge through which the road winds its way to the historic and culinary town of Prince Albert, which is well worth a visit in itself. The gorge allowed us to seek shade and get a close glimpse of the contortions in the rock. We felt small staring up at the 700-metre tall quartzite cliffs all around us. Swartberg Pass was a total surprise for us, and ultimately concluded our journey through hell. We can't recommend our route to many people. However, we are glad to have made our way through such a storied part of the country.